There is a precise moment of failure that occurs long before a structure collapses. It does not happen when the steel beams buckle or when the walls crack. It happens in the silence of the planning phase, inside the mind of a manager who ignores the fundamental laws of physics. Right now, you are standing at a crossroads between progress and destruction. You are feeling the weight of the day, the gravity pulling your shoulders down, and the seductive voice of comfort telling you that skipping the gym today is self-care. You are debating whether to pack your bag, drive to the iron paradise, and put your body under the crushing load of the barbell or to stay home. You feel heavy. Your muscles feel dense, perhaps a bit slow. But I need you to answer a critical engineering question before you make that decision. Is this feeling the legitimate signal of a system that is structurally compromised and needs repair? Or is this simply the rust of inertia, the dust of laziness that gathers on a machine that has been sitting idle for too long? Most men cannot tell the difference. They mistake the friction of starting for the need for rest. They confuse the mental resistance of the ego with the physiological limit of the muscle. Today, we are going to audit your structural integrity. We are going to determine if you are truly in recovery debt, facing a legitimate bankruptcy of energy, or if you are simply trying to embezzle comfort from a bank account you haven't deposited any effort into. We are going to look at your body not as a temple, but as a high-performance construction site. Get your gear ready. We are checking the blueprints. In the world of civil engineering, there is a concept that dictates the fate of every skyscraper, every bridge, and every dam ever built. It is called the curing of concrete. When we pour fresh concrete, it is fluid, weak and vulnerable. It is not a solid structure yet. It is merely potential. For that concrete to reach its maximum compressive strength, the ability to hold up 1,000,000 tons of steel and glass, it must undergo a chemical process called hydration. It needs time, and it needs specific conditions to cure. If you disturb the concrete while it is curing, if you apply a heavy load to it before the chemical bonds have crystallized, you do not just get a surface crack, you get structural failure. The building comes down. Your body operates on this exact same blueprint. The workout you are dreading, or perhaps the workout you are about to crush, is the pour. And when you step into the squat rack and unrack that trembling weight, when you grind through the burning pain of the 10th rep on a bench press, you are not building muscle. You are pouring wet concrete. The growth, the hardening, the strength. That happens when you step away from the dumbbells. That happens in the silence of the cure. But here is the problem. Most of you are defaulting on your recovery debt. You are pouring wet concrete day after day. And then before it has time to set, you are backing a bulldozer over it. You are either overworking a fragile system or underworking a capable one. Today, we fix the schedule. We ensure that when you place that heavy bar across your traps, your foundation is solid rock, not wet mud. Let us analyze the first pillar of your reconstruction, the chemistry of the cure. You need to understand that recovery is not a passive act of doing nothing. It is an active, metabolically expensive physiological war. When a master builder pours a foundation, he doesn't just walk away and hope for the best. Now, look at your routine. You hit the gym, you tore the fibers in your pectorals and your quadriceps, creating that deep, dull ache of inflammation. That is the heat of the hydration reaction. Your body is screaming for resources to patch those holes with thicker, stronger myofibrils. But what do? Do you feed the site? Do you provide the raw materials? If you are sleeping 5 hours a night and eating processed garbage, you are the corrupt contractor stealing cement bags from the site and replacing them with sand. You are creating a honeycomb structure in your muscles. It looks solid from the outside, but inside, it is full of air pockets and weakness. Next time you are under the bench press looking up at the bar, imagine the fibers of your chest. If you are in recovery debt, those fibers are like brittle, dry chalk. But if you have paid your debts, if you have slept the 8 hours, if you have hit your protein macros, if you have hydrated, those fibers are like cured, reinforced concrete. They can take the load. You must view sleep not as a luxury, but as the night shift crew arriving at the construction site. The gym is the day shift. They do the demolition and the pouring. Sleep is the night shift. They do the welding and the hardening. If you fire the night shift, the building falls. You cannot cheat the chemistry. The iron does not care if you are busy. The barbell does not care about your deadlines. If the concrete is wet, the structure fails. This brings us to the second pillar, structural integrity testing. This is where we separate the builders from the dreamers. In engineering, we perform load tests. We drive heavy trucks onto a bridge to see if it holds before we open it to the public. Every time you walk into the weight room, you are performing a load test on your own biology. Here is the nuance that destroys most men. They use recovery as an excuse for laziness. They say, "I need to let the concrete cure," but they never actually poured the cement. Listen to me closely. You cannot be in recovery debt if you never spent the capital. If you did not train with savage intensity yesterday, if you did not push your heart rate to the red line, if you did not feel the lactic acid burning through your veins like jet fuel, then you have nothing to recover from. You are not a manager waiting for concrete to dry. You are a squatter living on an empty lot. You must earn the rest. It is not just, "I don't feel like it." It is a systemic signal. It is a grip strength that fails on the deadlift before your back does. It is a central nervous system that feels fried, making the weights feel 20% heavier than they actually are. It is a resting heart rate that is elevated because your body is still frantically trying to repair the damage from the last session. If you feel these specific signals, the engineer in you must make a logical decision to pull back, to eat more, to sleep more. But if you just feel the mental fog of a long day at the office, that is not structural failure. That is just soft drywall covering up your lack of discipline. In that case, the only cure is to get under the bar and crush the weakness out of yourself. When you grab that cold steel dumbbell, does your body reject it because it is broken? Or does your mind reject it because it is weak? The engineer knows the difference. The amateur guesses and stays small. Before we inspect the final blueprints of your legacy, take a second to verify your commitment to this project. If you are ready to stop guessing and start building a physique that is engineered to last, leave a like on this video. It is your signature on the safety inspection form. It says you are ready to do the work correctly. Now, we ascend to the third pillar, the Skyscraper Blueprint. We are not building a garden shed here. We are not mixing a bag of quick dry cement to fix a pothole. You are here because you want to build a skyscraper, a physique that commands respect, a level of strength that intimidates the average man, and a mental fortitude that is unshakable. High-rise construction requires a completely different timeline than a residential house. The higher you want to go, the deeper the foundation must be, and the longer the curing process takes. A massive muscle, the kind that stretches the sleeves of your shirt and pops with vascularity, is a long-term engineering project. It requires cycles of extreme stress followed by cycles of extreme repair. If you rush the process, if you try to build the 10th floor before the first floor is set, you create a house of cards. This is why you see guys who train every single day with zero rest, yet they look exactly the same year after year. They are stuck in a loop of demolition without reconstruction. On the other hand, the man who builds the skyscraper understands the rhythm of the build. He destroys the muscle in the gym with calculated violence. He lifts the heavy iron until he cannot move it another inch. Then he retreats. He eats with the precision of a logistics manager. He sleeps with the dedication of a monk. He watches the structure harden, and when he returns to the gym, he adds another plate to the bar. That is the new floor being added to the skyscraper. This is the difference between activity and productivity. Activity is moving dirt around the site. Productivity is erecting steel beams. Look at their curing schedule. Look at how they protect their recovery. They treat their sleep like a business meeting that cannot be rescheduled. They treat their nutrition like the supply chain for $1 billion factory, because that is exactly what it is. We are reaching the final inspection of your project. You have the blueprints. You understand the materials. But understanding the theory of concrete does not mix the cement. You have to do the work. If you want to join a crew of elite builders who refuse to accept structural weakness, subscribe to the channel right now. Consider it your union card. And I want you to comment below with the words, "solid foundation." This is your contract. This is your promise that you will stop building on sand. The world is full of half-built structures. It is full of men who started a project, poured a little concrete, got impatient, and walked away. It is full of men who broke themselves because they didn't respect the laws of physics and biology. You are not one of them. You are an engineer of human potential. You understand that the burn in your muscles is the chemical reaction of growth, but you also understand that the debt must be paid. If you are truly in the red, if your structure is shaking, go home and sleep. Eat. Hydrate. Pay the debt so you can remain solvent. Grab your keys, get in the car, drive to the Iron Sanctuary. Walk up to that barbell like you are the foreman of the job site. Grip it tight and start pouring. Do not stop until the work is done. Build it strong. Build it to last. Now, put down this device. Go build.